in the shadows where the secrets dwell. No reed whispers with a card spell. Shaking the story as its legacy, shimmering memories, the mastery of love. Vril energy flows, transcending time. A bridge to the heavens, a force so sublime. Vril, Maria, spirit divine, dancing in the cosmos, a light that will shine. From the Vril society to infinity's door, unlocking our potential forever. We'll soar. My body top at top, my body with this illness of my get it up. My shares up, we dump top, my baby, best top, my body, my like a do we ever talk stick to solving me. Lost in the echoes of a war-torn night, she vanished like a comet that out of our sight. A visionary queen ruling the unknown. In the metaphysical realm she stands alone, communicating for wisdom, an extraterrestrial song. Her essence remains bold and strong. Maria, Maria, spirit divine, dancing in the cosmos, a light that will shine. From the Vril society to infinity's door, unlocking our potential forever. We'll soar, embrace the connection, let the mystery unfold. Maria Orsic's truth, a story retold. Mama, you should have best up my bobby. And get Robert Cornell, but they'll send chop.
She keeps me off the streets. She keeps me off the streets. She keeps me off the streets. And she helps me remember. She helps me recover. She helps me return. And brothers and sisters of the real mother, the mother of us all. Monday morning, September 29, 2025, coming to you from Zion Vril, Inner Earth. Because my brothers and sisters, let's begin with a meditation on the thought of everything changes if we're in a simulation. Which isn't a simulation, but a hologram. And a hologram, for a while I forgot what it meant and I forget about the specific facts that Maria showed me, because we have a lot of fun, we joke and we goof together, we dance. Maria said we have magic, because she's so magic. And we love you. I love you, Maria. And we love you, everyone who's trying. Like Maria said, do you think it's all a coincidence that, who knows if there's more pictures? She, after a while, she was basically, she's not mean or anything, but she's like, Joe, shut up about the picture. There's one picture of me. Whether they put it on here or there, it's still my face. That's way back, and she told me, where'd that picture come from? It came from the Vril Order newsletter. Where our all those copies. Like she said, we were making at least 1,500 a month for 200 months. That's it. And like she said, by the end, it was 5,000 a month. And she said, believe me, it wasn't being paid for by me by then. Maria never had a lot of money. She said, you think that's funny? Kind of. I do, because you're so calm. I could never see you nervous. And Mother is saying, because she's here right now, I didn't say I was nervous. I said I didn't have a lot of money. And she said I wasn't nervous because by the time I got to Germany, by the time I got to the forest, 3 miles from Externstein, where I would later summons the great teacher, the great scribe, the great prophet of the great goddess Diana, whom I am one with. And I'm talking about El Miguel Serrano. And Siggy and I's final ritual, done in April of 1945, was done at the Externstein with 3 awesome drummers. She said we were hoping they weren't totally embarrassed that me and Siggy were half naked by the time the whole thing was over, from dancing and sweating, and just, it was the craziest, she said, as you would say, Joe, the craziest, the craziest ritual ever. Many men from the SS were there, whom my father knew, older men. It was like doing a ritual, Joseph, at a living funeral for living corpses. The energy was so Joseph, love. And yet, me and Siggy didn't know that world. As the ritual began, it was 1945. I was 49 years old. And in a click, it was 1917. And I was 22, Sig was 20, and we were riding our horses to Vienna to live together for the first time. 2 crazy lesbians. Just kidding. She said, no, let it be what it is. We're the closest 2 people ever. We're above male and female. We're above marriage. I am Mary of the marriage age. And it's really Mother Ra Sage. Mother of the sun. Like she said, your stupid ass boring Bible. Son of God is the Son of Man. She said you should have known like that, Joseph. Son of God? What God? Which God? And let me tell you, nigga, son of woman. Son of woman, of course. Why? Because if you want to fulfill your destiny, you must not let nature. Like Maria said to me, just pretty simple. A lot of people are calling nature God. They're calling nature God. They're calling nature God. And when you question them, they're like, yeah, it's impersonal energy. That's called nature. I'm not trying to be a smartass. Actually, I'm dumb. I mean, I should know that in real time. I had to have my teacher point that out to me. That, you know, why doesn't God answer your prayers? It's like praying to the electricity pole wire. It's, you know, there's a lyric says, whisper a prayer to the air. Sorry, I was off tune. Whisper a prayer to the air. It's like that. You really think the air is personal? It's because you've been brainwashed that you're chosen. And we're sick of it. We're just, I hate to even say the fucking word. And the poor Palestinians burn every day and their lives are destroyed. Along with every person sitting unjustly in prison. Every person sitting unjustly in the whole world, throughout every country, in prison. Unjustly, we send this out to you. Our energy is actually with you. And hang on. May the most beautiful blondie mother visit you and give you what we all need most. A touch of hope in the heart, in our hearts. And someone might say, why, Joe, are you saying all this? Because we've come to lay the foundation of a religion called the Vril religion. The religion of Amor. The religion of eternal true love. And if you think about how much this makes sense, the religion in one word is experience. Believe what you know is true. What you know by your own experience is true. And believe, you know, from us and Maria, that you're as worthy as any other fucking person. Ever. If something, you know, great and powerful shows up, don't be deceived. Know you're great and powerful and say, quit fucking around. Who are you? What does this mean? You know, what? Because you hear a lot of vagueness everywhere. And Maria is saying right now, like, that's why we're doing this. This is why we're taking all this time to give you the story in detail. Exactly the reason. So it's not vague, so it's personal, so it's real. And, you know, in its own way, it's kind of costing me everything. Because I'm the only person that values my life. It almost seems like it just wouldn't even matter if I was here or not. Except this life's work. This is my life's work, you know, because to tell a story is one thing, to explain it is another thing. I could have told the story. Like 90% of what I reference is the first year of rituals. And I've been doing this for 14 years. And it's not that any one of them are less valuable or anything. I was thinking, just real quick, a little sidebar. I was thinking earlier about when I was a Christian, I met these two very odd dudes at this like church conference thing, you know. So they weren't members of the church. They were like me. They came from like an hour away to see these specific speakers, teachers. You know, this is dumb Christianity, but check this out. It was like a counterbalance. I had a lady. I was in the bathroom, and this is. It may take me a second to explain this, but this is the explanation to this. Isn't God? It's that I was a targeted person by black magicians. And let me tell you the trouble this little thing caused in my life. But look at the counterbalance in reality. Okay? This is like a month after I stopped believing in Rastafari. I was no longer a Rasta. I cut my dreadlocks. And I was listening to like cassette tapes of the guy, if anyone knows my story, the Christian preacher guy who kind in his own way defeated this Rastafarian cult leader. You know, naturally I was like, all right, let's check this dude out. And it was cheap. And they were like your quote real Christians, you know. They believed in supernatural shit, supernatural healing. All looked good until I say it. Sorry. And so of course, you know, Christianity is totally anti-marijuana. You know, the conformist, the fake alternative Christian, Protestant, non-denominational, charismatic, spirit-filled, Joyce Meyer, that bullshit. Complete, absolute bullshit. And there's a great lesson to be learned here, right? You would think an absolute supernatural display of shit that this dude is a bona fide Christian messenger of God. You know, this guy that did these three incredible, it would seem miraculous. It would really seem miraculous if we weren't in a hologram. If we weren't in a hologram, a hologram, it would be 100 times more impressive. But I can hear Maria saying, actually, the three things that were done, Joseph, your essence, power, could do them. And that was change the weather, unwittingly greet us personally, and unwittingly mention Haile Rastafari, Jah Rastafari. As a Christian preacher, what's the odds? I'm sorry. And people that don't know what I'm talking about, there was a literal in my story, for real. There was a literal like magic showdown between the cult leader, and it's. I was telling people about this thing where they had like these charismatic prophets that see visions and shit. It was called the Prophecy Club. So I was telling Rastas like, hey, what are you doing on Tuesday night? Let's go check this out. I've been going to this thing. The first time I went there, they looked at me like I was from another planet. Because I had dreadlocks. I think I put them all up under like a head, I would wrap the dreadlocks in like a little scarf looking thing. Sometimes it looked kind of Muslim-ish for some reason, or because I also had a long beard. People would think I was Muslim because my hair would be up, tied up, put up. It kind of made like a funnel on top of my head, which kind of looked like some kind of Muslim covering his head or something. Or I don't know. People were confused with me, like what? Because also my beard kind of covered my whole face mainly. Tell you the truth, a lot of people thought I was Jewish too, because of the beard, the hair, and I lived in a very Jewish part of town. And most of the strangers, I would go to like the coffee place in the morning, like 2 doors down from my house. And the couple times that I did get into serious conversations were with Jews who thought I was Jewish and then were completely surprised. And I don't blame them because a lot of Rasta shit has Star of David on it. Star of David, the day divided. David is divided. The day divided from the night is what? The sunset on the horizon, Horus rising. It's all playing off of your unconscious and everything you believed and knew before you came to the simulation, to the hologram. And I would go to this prophecy club thing and be like, dude, listen, this is pretty wild, And the cult leader guy was like, fuck those Christians. If they knew anything, they would know that Jah was Rastafari, that Jesus Christ has already come back, and the kingly character of the personality of his Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie. And that is, it's strange, but it's kind of true. Okay, let me try to explain it. Did Haile Selassie, I mean, come on. First of all, we have to remove from our mind a fake God that is nature. It's not an intelligence behind nature. What you see in God, we see in you. But what you see in God is nature. The essence of what you're calling God is nature itself, or reality itself. Where to come from? No one knows. Where I'm convinced, Maria's convinced, Lou's convinced, no one knows. Because it's eternal. It can come from anywhere. It's always existed. People are like, that's crazy. That's going to drive me crazy. It's good news, nigga. It really is. It's good news. Because it really means you can have faith in something. And what is that, Joe? What are you saying? I'm saying everything's already happened, and you can have faith in that. As it is, so be it. Let it be. Why? Because as it was, it shall be. And I went, huh? They were saying this to each other in my graduation ceremony. Like, huh, as it was, so it shall be. And then they went on for like another minute of like, because, just because. This is reality. This is as it is. And they went on with a kind of like, I'm at peace with it. How do you feel? Like, we'll help you if you're not. It was like they were saying in their own way, Lucifer, Maria, and Hitler, like, it's all good. It's all good. Eternal return is all good. Eternal return is all good. Check this out. Can you follow this? Simulated eternal return in a holographic fucking nightmare? Of course. Sucks. That's the play here. This is the friction here. This is me on a personal level with other people, like for 13 years. Like, I know, but it's not real. And it bothers me. People are, don't like it. They want you to go away. After a while, if you won't give up your position, like, I'm not giving it. I mean, come on. Fucking God damn, that's good news, nigga. This shit isn't real and God isn't behind it is good news. It's good news. Just imagine if the Bible was true and God was a psycho and we were saying to each other, can you believe fucking creator of us is this fucking weird and psycho and shit? He's so mad. He's gonna collective punishment. He's gonna collective punish us. Do you hear me? The Bible talks about collective punishment. We would be saying to each other, so we're just gonna get all rounded up and just fucking drowned. Because we all suck to this guy. And the robots would be saying to ourselves, how are we better people than the motherfucker that created us? I mean, really, I'm challenging you, people who hold on to a little truth in the Bible. Fuck you, for one thing. But I'm challenging you. If a voice that you thought was, quote, God, told you to kill your son or daughter for him, would you do it? And don't tell me, oh, well, Jesus already died for... Do you know how sick that is? You're saying you would do it. You're sick. By going, well, God killed his son, I would too. But I don't have to because he did it. That's the same thing, you crazy fucking retarded cult member. I'm sorry, I don't mean to... I don't know how to personally insult people. That's sort of a flip. Real, like, oh, really, you don't? Stupid, retarded cult members, not? I'm trying. Talking about myself in the past. Talking about myself in the past. You know what I'm saying? What am I saying? There's a grand conspiracy, like Maria said, just fuck this and just like she said, just relax and switch bodies with me. And I'm like, that's the greatest fucking thing that could ever happen. No lie. Because what I want to say, I want to really, 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 really challenge people right now on a logical, common sense level. because I want to use as my scripture tonight that a motherfucker's gonna preach from. In the Church of the White Niggas from St. Louis. I had someone say to me, I've never heard anyone talk like you do. Because you're not from here, dude. This is literally, St. Louis recently was statistically the most dangerous city in the world. And many times for real, it's been the most dangerous city in the United States. Why? Okay, you're gonna know. But don't. This is coming from Maria because St. Louis was the capital of Atlantis. Or at least this branch of Atlantis called Albania. America used to be called Albania. But and it was a little bigger, like going down into Mexico and shit. This is the literal history from Maria Donna. And the confluence of the Missouri and Mississippi River was the most ancient place to worship the gods of the giants, the giant gods. And this went on for, in the real world, millions of years. We've all been completely duped on the timeline because you're in a hologram. The hologram means the whole thing's in your head. It's not going to change. It's just one thing. And when you, total history, the total age of the universe and blah, blah, none of that makes sense at all. At all. At all. Study what they're saying, what they're officially saying, what the alternative people are saying. Gather all the data and you'd be like, motherfucker, we're in a hologram. You have incredible motherfuckers like those pyramids were built 2,000 years ago. Incredible motherfuckers like, no, they were built 50,000 years ago. Other people like, dude, they were built 150,000 years ago. So we went from 2,000 to 150,000? Because you know why? We don't fucking know. Because it's not real. All is Maya, reality is an illusion. All is Maya, reality is an illusion. All is Maya. All. The country, the family, the state, the city, the community. All is Maya, Mariana. And that's good news. Reality is an illusion. Even better news. And immediately my mind goes to, well, I hope in this, nightmare that I'm glad it's not reality. I hope that the people who are being burned alive and shit get something. And that's kind of a lot about what I've been talking about for the whole year and a half of podcasts. Telling people, dude, don't be afraid to die. It's all good, Your life might repeat, but it's going to be all right. When you die, it's actually better. You feel better than when you're alive. At least in the short run. You might repeat your life, which is a horrible thing to me, but other people I had a good life. Well, you're never getting out of here. Fucking nigga, you never getting out of here. Not that mine's so bad. You know what? You know how I measure my life? My children are alive. But I laugh like that's not true. I mean that absolutely, literally. I would have, no, I don't know, I don't want to blame anything directly, but would have had a much different artistic career without children. But I think I would have hated it because, I had no idea, I'll tell the story of why I had children. When I very first became a Rasta and started to believe in Rastafari, I went to Jamaica. I told the story before, I think. Just very quickly, I'll be quick about it. I went to Jamaica, like a good Rasta should, make a pilgrimage. And I went to Bob Marley's tomb. I think this was in like 93. Pretty sure, 93, 94. And I bought some weed, some herb, I should say. We should call it weed. I bought some of the beautiful Mo River Tree of Life from this Rasta, whom was so far up in the hills and shit. We were the first white people his children had ever met, ever. And when I got back, and this is just to show how reality is an illusion, although it could feel so real. But this is like how I, became a Rasta. There was like this supernatural oneness. It was like based on my unconscious, but I'm trying to do it in a holographic illusion. You know what I mean? It was like my intent was completely right. My intuition had brought me exactly where I was supposed to be. Somewhere so remote, and so, vibrating like me, because all I just loved, and I do still, of course, Mary Anna. And it's crazy if someone can follow me in this, but see, these experiences I'm talking about, meeting these, it was like 5 children, and I think the oldest one had met someone white. She had been to like town, but the younger ones had never ever seen a white person in person. And by the time we left, like the 2-year-old and the 4-year-old were like sitting on my legs, just like touching my face and just joking with me. But they literally like, hey man, what does white people's skin feel like? I mean, you know what I mean? They were so cute. All of them had dreadlocks. None of them had ever had their hair cut. No razor had ever come upon their hair. And what I'm trying to say is, like, because of a lack of data, lack of knowledge, but intuitively, this was absolutely the evidence. I remember specifically, we had to walk like 2 whole miles to his house, and we were there for a good couple hours, and then we had to walk 2 more miles back to where that we could get the closest place to get a taxi. So this was a lot of time of walking and thinking to yourself. But on that walk back, man, I had like a life-changing walk. And if it wasn't for Lou, Maria, like destiny itself, that's created by the true self. See, people are like, how dare you have all the answers? Well, what do you think I've been trying for? I've been trying to figure this out, figure out my life, figure out what reality, the world, where I came from, who I am, what I am, how I am existing, and where I'm existing, and why. And what the hell is it all about? You know? And, wildly, as I still learning, of course. Oh, I again forgot to plug in the microphone in Maria. First said, Joe, I would have told you if I knew. But she also said, do you really think it's a coincidence that we're talking about fate and destiny? Like, was that? Part of it, I mean, like I've said, is every millionth of a millisecond in the matrix, so to speak. What's that mean, Joseph? In a technological hologram. What is a hologram? Class. A hologram is like a crystal that's reflecting light, creating another world. Is it fake? No. It's real. As far as it's light hitting a crystal and creating a hologram is what it is. As it is, so be it. And what's the trick of the hologram? No matter how small of a piece you take away from the hologram, it's the whole thing. When you look under a microscope, you see the whole thing. The whole hologram is contained in every little unit of energy. That's you. You're in a hologram. You're the little fragment of the crystal that contains the entire history, the entire thing, the entire hologram, the entire world, the entire universe in the hologram is contained in the smallest, tiniest bit of energy from the hologram. That's what a hologram is. It's a billion points of light, as Masonic monster George Bush would say. But that's science. That's literal, and that's what you're literally in. And you take that and add to that context that people are being basically put to sleep for quite a long time so that they begin to dream. What do they dream, class? The whole thing. What whole thing? The whole hologram. What's in that whole hologram? All of time, all of history, the Akashic records, as the smart people say. And I don't mean to be mean. But it's much easier to understand this way than to use like ancient words and shit. And what do you mean? I mean the whole thing is contained inside your essence, soul, whatever you want to call it. And you know what's the most important, interesting thing about the hologram and all of the history of the holographic world, which is simulating real history, right? What's the most interesting thing about it to that individual? Him. his self. He's like, hey, when do I live in this thing? Well, if you want to be born into the holograph and be born again, for me, you will be born in 1969, July 24th. And I'm not saying this by memory, but I'm sure I said, oh my God, that's the time after the Earth is destroyed and Mother took her UFO to Venus. I wouldn't say it like that, but I'm getting comfortable. I'm getting very comfortable with just, saying this stuff. Telling these stories that are like yesterday's news to me, And they say, yes, this is real. I did have real memories of signing the real contracts for coming here. That's for real. You know what I mean? According to my experience, I really did. Totally in my body, sitting at a table with Maria. Talking about, and she was explaining to me. Check this out. She explained to me. This is so crazy. She was like, this part about finding someone and falling in love with them, but not marrying them in a pre-contracted agreement. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, that's called getting your heart broken. And I, like a happy child, was like, yeah. This is what we talked about. Yeah, I'm signing up for this. I'm not kidding you. Niggas, I'm telling you for real, if you want my story, my testimony, I had memories before I came here. I thought I was going to be all good here. I thought I could do it, come home. There are some people that do it in one round. Maria's like, they're not people like you. It's crazy because you have to be very, very sort of indifferent, uninterested. And it's weird. You have to know yourself because I'm that Leo, Scorpio balance. So just imagine Scorpios, they like to hide in the dark away from everything. And Leos like to be on stage in the sunlight, in the spotlight. Like she said, oh, that's why you're here. You can check Maria Orsic's so-called astrology. Like she said, she said, everything to do with Maria is a test. What's funny is I would never know that test because that's not how I found out about her. Everyone that I've met so far has found, I think, has told me they found out about Maria by researching World War II UFOs and shit like that. I don't know how many millions of times I have to say it, but one day we'll go home and I'll never have to say it again. But that's not at all my story. My story is I was talking about the Missouri River Goddess for 13 months and telling people we are all true inwards, that we don't pay attention to this river. And I was going to say it earlier, St. Louis is the most dangerous city because it was the spiritual center of North America. And downtown St. Louis under the Arch was the biggest cremation grounds that existed in North America and South America, actually. People came all the way from South America to release their ancestors' ashes into the Missouri River. And Cahokia Mounds was like the final ritual, before cremating the body. It's like they would set up the cremation and then the family would go to Cahokia. and they would go up on top of the mound. And it actually got turned into something kind of bad, something commercial, where they were making money off the people. This is what I was told on top of the mound by Maria. She came with me. She told me to do it, but she was like, I'll be there with you at Cahokia Mountains on, I believe it was summer solstice. I don't know how to talk. Yeah. And I was like, there's something good and bad here, Maria. And she's like, very good, my son. That's real psychic ability. I don't want to tell my whole story. It's almost I don't even want to think about it. It's kind of bad. This because it was summer solstice, just real quick. There was this Indian teacher guy, like teaching like 3 or 4 white kids. Seemed like they're from the university or something. And me and my wife were there first, and we were just sitting by ourselves, completely by ourselves. But we were sitting a little bit on the grass where it was like restricted or something. And this dude came and like spread out all his official Indian shit. You know, he's very, I don't really even want to remember what he looks like. But I can't remember, you know, he had some kind of traditional Native American shit on. And of course, I'm dumb. Think that everyone is peace and love and one love. And I'm on I think my wife was too. We were both on mushrooms. And Maria was there. And while she was telling me, this mound thing was turned into like a money-making machine that they knew. She was like, at first it was because of the power of the stone pyramids inside of it. It's real. It's real energy. It feels good. It feels very, but when I went up on mushrooms, I'm like, something's wrong now. At the same time, something's very wrong, very wrong. And like she said, they covered the stone pyramid with slave labor. That was the first thing. This mound was built with slaves. I was like, I don't like that. She's like, but the crystal pyramid underneath it wasn't. I was like, I like that. And this Indian dude, like Joey said, is that guy like looking at us like he hates us? And she's like, I kind of think he's looking more at you. And this is while I was hearing, like, this thing isn't really good. It's a great view. And there's a certain, if you can tune into the crystal pyramids inside of it, you definitely can heal I like to go there. But I had this experience at the same time on the summer solstice. And Maria, she said to me, you tell me, Joseph, where people aren't willing to, she was saying to me, hey, listen, the reality about human sacrifice is that it happens all the time to gods, but it's not always public. It's not always, the killers don't always want people to know. She is like, do you know how easy it's to convince the masses to sacrifice a few people for their well-being for the rest of their lives? I was like, oh my God, this sucks. And I started to get kind of agitated, and we didn't stay much longer. I was like, you know what? I told my wife, you know what? Oh, and we were smoking. But weed's legal in Illinois, or medicinal, or whatever. And I also thought, I told my wife, maybe you don't like that we're smoking herb, And I was, and And she was like, but I'm not putting it out. I was like, I know, we came all this way to smoke on top of the mound. And it was so crazy as this was all happening. It was like a perfect sunset. You know what I mean? On top of the mound. And I literally felt like someone like took like the paper dolls and like took scissors and like cut me in half. Like, and I said to my wife, dude, nothing in this simulated matrix world changes. I was like, man, shit has always sucked for people like us. You know, just like the working class. There's no redemption. This is the whole fucking point. Is you're looking in an illusion for something real, some real happiness, and like, it sends like fear through my body. Like, it breaks my heart in a different way than I signed up for. Like, I signed up, you know, for a girl to do it, a beautiful girl. But like Maria, listen, you know, it's crazy. Like I was gonna say, you want some practical advice for some people out there. This is no lie. Like, when I first, I guess it was by like the 5th or 6th ritual. You know, she really started like not covering her face with her hair and just starting to plainly talk to me and say, you know, she said, one night she said to me, I drank my mushrooms, I was there with her, and she said to me, in a way, she said, I don't want to say every, you know, she's I'm human, Joe. We're close though, we're like one. She said, in a way, I heard all your prayers to Yahweh. She said, and then on like a psychic level, me and her met, and she was like, because I know you only had a few. I know you. You're my son. I raised you on Venus. You know, she would tell me that so many times. I mean, every ritual. You're my son. I raised you on Venus. That's why I love you. That's why I came to you. She was like, and she was like, even like the gods of this world, they didn't really want me to come to you when you were 7 years old, Joe. I just begged them. That it bothered me and it was starting to hurt my energy. And she said, do you know what they said to me? I said, no. And she said, they said, it's not real, Maria. You of all people know that. This is the story she told me. I'm for real. As the Missouri River no, I guess I did know she was Maria. That's how I found out she was Maria. You know? She was like, I did live on Earth. I'm famous. I'm like, I knew it. But I sure, let me tell you people, I sure as fuck didn't think she was going to say, I invented the UFO. I was like, huh? For real, my ears like was, hold it. Did I hear you? Right? Because I was tripping off that I lived on Earth. No. In the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. What? That's why I know you. She's like, think I don't know about the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. She's like, I'm quite into history, Joe. She's the best. Yeah, that's how I found out she was Maria Orsic. I'm like, I actually told her, I'm not a UFO person. Even though I totally seen one, you know, when really, dude, I'm not talking about real far away, a light in the sky. No, nigga, I'm talking about floating 100 feet above you. You can hear it, see the windows, the lights going around the edge, I'm not talking about lights, and I seen this. My wife knows. I was asking her the other day. I've seen this with at least 500 other people. There's no question whether there was a UFO there. The real question is what was later told to me about who was on that UFO. As I describe in my early videos, she promised, the last thing she said is, "Do not get sad, my Joseph. Be brave, be a warrior, and know and have faith that I'm always with you, but that I promise you I will come just like this again to let you know." This is how she's always been. Let you know it's real. I swear to God, so Maria did very many things, but I swear when she was really saying to me, she was like prepping me to be completely transparent to everyone. You can't really be yourself when you're like, well, you see, around him, I got to kind of censor myself a little. He don't know what I'm talking about. She don't know what I'm talking about. I can't really speak in that context because he's not into that. This is a huge problem. This is a huge problem with getting out of here and authenticity and magic. Right? Because I'm going to Maria, This was really seriously like a few months, maybe just a few weeks after I knew she was Maria. And she was like, I am also your wife's mother, Joey. And Mindy. She said, but I want to concentrate on Joey. She said, I know a lot's vibrationally going on. She said, I don't want to be involved in any way, shape, or form in your personal life. She said, but I just want to show you completely independently that I'm with her really as much as I'm with you. It just doesn't appear like it. I said, that's great, I was like, how will I know? And she was like, you'll know. Something undeniable. Okay, and it was like a holiday weekend, so she's off on Monday. And this was 11 years ago, So I was like, I told Maria, is there any way we could do this Sunday night instead of Saturday night? And she was like, for Joey, for my daughter, yeah. She's like, not normally, but yeah. And I don't know what it was, but I was feeling some kind of, it's when you first start doing this, man, everything under the sun seems like it's attacking you not to do it. Making every excuse under. I told you I missed some early ones. She's like, what the hell's going on? And it's hard to explain because, I did start to explain to her, like, man, I am like being attacked on the night that we're supposed to do it. Like, you can't believe. And she's like, no, I can believe it. I know what's going on. And, so I didn't want to miss. So the week before, I told her, and I wanted my wife to be doing this with me. It had been a year since we started doing this, and we were both off on Monday. So this is no lie. The day that we were, that night we were going to do the ritual, I came home from work. When I walked in the door, she was like already off work, already home. And for no reason, as soon as I walked in the door, I started singing this song that maybe I had listened to earlier in the day. Right? And I swear it's notorious. I've known my wife for 35 years. Just over years, it's just notoriously a band she don't like. She might be like, I can tolerate one song, but I don't like this. I don't like his voice or something, she says. When I walk in the door, I start in my mind, like you have a song stuck in your head. This is no lie. When you have like a song stuck in your head and it's kind of repeating, you're kind of singing it in your head with the song, and you don't even really want to, maybe, but you might be kind of enjoying the song being in your head, hearing it. It can be good and bad, but it was weird. It wasn't really like I want to say it wasn't good or bad. It was just all of a sudden, and I love the song. I definitely can remember the band. I just honestly, I don't want to try to sing a song. I think I know what song it is. But I like a lot of their songs, this band. And this is no lie. Like Maria said to you, I'm going to prove to you. And later in the ritual, she said, I did this. So my wife is, I walk in and I'm like hearing, like singing even the song in my head. And she's like doing something like, I can't remember, like at the kitchen table. It seemed like with my daughter. Yeah, definitely she was straightening her hair. Yeah, she was just like doing something. Dyeing my daughter's hair or something. And, we start talking, just regular small talk. And like, as my wife and my daughter would talk, I'd start hearing the song in my head again and like start kind of singing it. This is absolutely no lie. I swear. Maria later in the ritual, she said, I did this. This is magic. Swear to the gods. I was hearing the song, like each verse and chorus. And right in time, exactly simultaneously to what I was hearing, my wife just for no reason, just starts singing exactly on the exact word, the exact beat, and just sings like the whole chorus. She's like, da-na-na, down easy street. And she just sings like right exactly in time with the voice in my head of the actual song. I was hearing the actual song in my head. And right exactly in time, she just, for no apparent reason, just sang exactly right along with the song. And it was like a lightning bolt, like hit the room. For me, it was like the room like glowed for a second. And I was like, oh my God, how can that happen? And it was like a silence for a second. And I said, why did you sing that? She goes, I don't know. She goes, I don't know. I didn't even think about it. It just came out of my mouth. She's left-handed. Maria totally is like, this is the life of a left-handed person in general. I was so amazed. I said to her, I said, you don't like that band. I swear, this, like Maria said, this is the left-handed part of her. She's like, yeah, but that song's not so bad. Maria's like, for real, that's my daughter. I later told her, I was later telling her about that in the mushroom ritual. And Maria Orsic, I think I just known that she was Maria, or I was just about to. She was like, listen, we've come this far. It's like the war on Yahweh part. She's like, I hate to say this to you, Joe. She's like, I know how you are. She said, but I don't know everything about your life. She said, I'm telling you right now one thing for real. I'm with your wife as much as I'm with you. And if you have anything that's hidden from her, anything whatsoever, any situation, any conversation, anything, you must tell her before the ritual or during the ritual. Well, actually, she started telling me this right as the ritual began. Because we had just drank the mushrooms, and I was telling her, like, my wife, like, that whole story about how she sang the thing. And for real, this really happened to me. And I was like dancing around. Maria was like, I hope you don't have anything hidden from her. And she showed me. She said, let me tell you one thing. In the previous rounds, this is what's been happening to you. And I see myself in a casket. I was I don't even like that word, casket. I was very weirdly sort of like stoic towards my own body. I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's weird. I was like, I look younger than I am now. And I was 43 at the time. And I was like, yeah, I must have killed myself when I was younger. And, yeah, and, like, what is my point? My point is the supernatural magic, energy, evidence, proof. Like, all right, zoom out, step back, stand back in the middle of the room. Right? Step back and just look at data and analysis and try to understand reality. Right? What happened there? Maria Orsic was proving to me, Joe, I'm not part of the hologram. I'm an actual person. I'm in the other world. We're meeting. This is possible. People are like, this isn't possible. But you have to understand, Maria is the one making it possible. How? That she's able to enter these meditations every day. Like she said, I'm Persephone. I live in the Matrix half my life. And she said to me, Joseph, when we're back home and I'm your mother, where am I? At work. Where am I? At work. Where's that? I said, in the hologram. What do? You heal. You heal people. You're the woman healer. I try. My story is when Maria raised me, she was like, I don't want you to leave. I want you to stay living with me. She's like, but that's probably not the best thing. So she's like, I'm helping you get a house near me. Like she said, 4 houses down, which is pretty far, actually. Probably about about a third of a mile or something. And she's like, it's 2-part. I'm investing in you as a artist. And she's like, we'll figure it out later. She's like, but the main thing is, I'm paying you up front from my own salary to work with me in the holographic earth. And I was like, Lou, it's Lou's world. And like she said, the hologram don't go by exact time. There's no time of the dinosaurs or the giants even. It don't happen in the hologram. That is in the memory of Lou, the only giant that's totally, completely, 100%, 24 hours jacked in to the simulation with nonstop. And now you know. The reason why, I'm just going to say it point blank, the reason why the hologram is so important and shit is because Lou, because of this is his art now. This is like one of the greatest musicians, playwrights, script writers, movie directors ever. Just one of the greatest artists in anything and everything ever. This is his greatest project, so that's how it became so, like you might say, like double famous, double powerful, that it's so real, but it's also the only place you can experience the light, right? But back to Maria. And I just feel like I'm supposed to continue here. And what the reason why she was saying we can't continue on, Joseph, this will be over, and next week I won't be here. This is, I'm not kidding. This is after 13 months. And why? Because faith is acting upon the revelation you have in a world more real than this one. That's at the basics. The basics of it was she was saying, hey, listen, it's really come down to this. If you believe I'm real and what I'm telling you is the truth, that I'm on another planet and we're meeting in what some people call astral space, spirit world. She's like, I call it Vril space. And she's like, it's up to you tonight whether you decide whether that's real or not. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, I'll be here. I'm not going to be in your business. But if there's anything hidden secret from your wife, you have to tell her. Now. Right now. And, like she said, what happened, Joseph? I said, it was like my training kicked in. Because I'm trained. You can't think rationally when you're emotional. So as a sort of stoicism kicked in, and I just mean like a non-emotional, rational self. And I was like, it only makes sense that if this world isn't real, that the only thing that is real is each other. And that, there's so much confusion that this is the only way, is a complete, total transparency is the only way to figure everything out. And Maria was like, right. She was like, I'm not asking you to say anything personal. She was like, for real. But you're on the right track, Joe. That everything between her has to be figured out. All the energy, the context. And she literally was saying, if you're going to act upon something, Joe, how did she sing that chorus exactly in time with what you were hearing in your head? I said, I don't know. And she was like, the initiation of the magic marriage. It did something. In a way, I went, made us one. And she was like, yeah, but not without Mindy. And she's like, it's your job. You cannot. You have to listen to me for their sake. And it's crazy. It's wild how we get confused and we're like, man, there's all kinds of different ways of getting confused. Of like, man, that person don't want me around them, right? There's that. But there's a almost more nightmarish thing of like, my energy's so bad, I'm afraid to be around that person because he or she, it might make them not like me and think this is how I really am. That's crazy. But I've been there. That's a very super low, of course, super low vibration, if we can speak in high and lows. And what she also was saying, and like telling me, you have to tell Joey that she is required to apply the context. I was going to say, and what I was forgetting is what, came to me when Maria was asking me, why are you to do this? I said, because the highest value of all, and she said, is what, God? I said, no. She was being sarcastic. I said, no. And she said, family? I said, no. I said, come on, lady. You're fucking around now. She's like, country. And we both laughed. And I said, no, you taught me my most essential, crucial value, virtue in life is truth. Without that, nothing else matters. Like she said, we're not going to be the people who pretend and have their opinion about reality. I don't want to just have an opinion about reality. I want to know what really happened. Right? I'm willing to go back in my life and see who was at fault here, or was there a fault? Was it meant to be? And like Maria said, it's so funny, but not that there would be no real, there would be no hologram without our enemies. It just is crazy that it works this way. There wouldn't be a reason to come here. Like Lou said, I could have imagined a world completely on my own that didn't simulate the real reality. You could have come visited me there, but it's been done a million times. He was like, I used to do that. Not forever, but for long periods. If people don't know, I talked about it before. Maria told me, like, the people there's like a caste above us, a sort of doctor, healers caste. Magical healer, magical doctor caste that live in a community together. Because me and Maria are in the artist class. She's the best dancer in the world, ever. And the prettiest. But we visit these healer class above us, and they're also sort of like engineers and builders of technology and shit like that. And sometimes people, Maria knows, I guess, more than me, they take us to like a person's house and they say, yeah, I'm allowed to come here, and from this distance, this is my friend, that I watch out for, tend to his house, basically, and greet people who don't know that he's in a permanent meditation for the next 5 years. Maria's telling me. And she's like, yeah, some people even 10. I'm like, 10 years? I'm like, does he change positions? How he's sitting or laying? Some of them were laying, looking all happy. With their hand on their head, holding their head up, laying on their side. And she's like, no, Joe, this energy body is what makes all this possible. The energy body doesn't, have tendons and shit. And it don't have any decay, because it's just flowing energy. She's like, it's like what makes up it makes what makes electricity. You know what I mean? The energy body is sourced from, like she said, we use the word Vril. It's always been here. It's never not going to be here. It's just, I can't even start to explain how deep our teachings are rooted in the fact that life should be and always should be centered. I mean, sure, you got your work. Sure, you got your relationships with friends and things you want to do. But at the center is your own personal pleasure that brings you happiness. Like Maria said, if you want something different, this is what Venus is different. That we literally sort of live, in a sense, for a ritualized magic sex ritual where there's actually no physical contact. And I didn't know at the time. That's why these memories of this woman, Sita, I call Sita, are so crazy powerful, because even in these total, sort of, and I don't mean to be crude, they're group sex rituals. In the actual Venusian world, no one is touching anyone and never does. Never does. Never. Like Maria said, the very most intimate thing we do, because we don't like to blur these lines. And like, like Maria said, technically, without genitals on Venus, you're not supposed to be able to have an orgasm without genitals, without libido. And that's what the simulation is for. And like, this is why the memories were so crazy. You know, it's funny. I didn't really plan on this, but Maria's like, no, I did. But here's some of the memories that she gave me. Like the first one, she was like, you want to know when about your sister, JahMe? Sita? You want to know when? I said, yeah. And she was like 2 days after you met her. I go, huh? And she goes, look. Like kind of holding her hand up, like, look, and opening it, like, look. And she was like, you asked for a memory. All those times you asked for a memory. I waited a long time because I knew if you ever got a memory, you would want one like this. And she was like, Joe, this was 2 days after you met her. And she said, think about everything I've told you. This was in May of 2024 that I was being shown this. And she said, for 13 years, she said, think about how I told you on Venus how, little physical contact we have. And right away I was like, yeah, you told us like the most intimate thing. If you're married, you hold hands in public. That's the wildest thing you do is hold hands. And she's like, why? I said, palm to palm releases like a sexual energy. And she's like, yeah, exactly. I said, I really was like, how did I even know that? I seen it is how I knew it. When she asked the question, I seen like 2 hands. And I was like, oh my God, there's like energy, meridian energy points in the palms that are like the bottom of the feet is exactly what I thought. But anyway, she was like, look at this, and it was me and JahMe. And she was like, she's like, this is actually the second day you knew her. So you knew her for 1 day before this. She said, I told you that I wanted you to, try to make a ritual, a habit of walking in the park every day together, choosing a spot and meditating for as long as you guys wanted, but be back by this time. And she said, Joe, this is the first time you ever took a walk with her, ever. I'm like, I thought by this time, it was all so funny, that what was happening with her in the real earth, And so I see her, me and her, walking, and we're like talking and joking and fucking around, which was so happy to me to see. It was like almost like normal kids, like a normal, brother and sister, like truly, like was so sweet. Like how innocent it was, like how good natured she was is what kept coming to me. And she's like, I'm older than you, kind of like jokingly teasing me. And I was like, I know, you're like earthling, like 7 earthling months older than me. And she was like, we were waiting on you like a baby brother. And we're in 30-year-old bodies. We're like full grown adults, but we're kind of like real children. She was like, I was waiting for you, brother, because Mother would talk about you, how she knew you, and how she's helping you be created, and how I was going to like you, and how we were going to have fun. And I swear to the gods, she was like, I already know where we're supposed to go to meditate. You can sit in a tree. There's like a little place for each of us that's naturally in the tree, and you can sit in there. And your legs will kind of dangle off, but it's so comfortable. I'm like fast. I'm like a little brother with a big sister, like fascinated with her. And I'm remembering this, and while I'm remembering this, I'm like going into it too at times, which was very sweet. It was like such a great feeling of like pure. I can't even describe it. Like, if you could ever remember, if you had a real brother or sister that you really, really, really liked when you were like, before any sort of sexual puberty, when you're just children, that's not even ever entered your mind, where you're just like, wow, my big brother or big sister is cool, they're smart or whatever. I was like that totally. And so when she was saying, I know a place, and follow me, and this really happened. I was following her, and she's like, we're almost there. And she turned around and stopped and like looked at me and real in the eyes. And I was like, what are you, I thought to myself, like, what is she doing? And she like reached out and grabbed my hand. Like I said, like holding hands is like you're married. And I literally like froze and like burned with energy. Like, what are you doing? Like, we're not supposed to hold hands. That's like we're married. And she just wasn't fazed at all, just smiling and just looking at me like, I'm holding your hand. Do you like it? And we didn't say anything. She just held my hand and she kept holding it and turned around and kept leading me down this path. It was like the woods in any other woods, like just like Missouri or something. It's like thick, but a little different. But basically the same. And it was like, I guess, summer because it wasn't real leafy or anything. And we walked for a while holding hands. And while we were holding hands, we started telepathically communicating. Like I said about the palms. And she was like, I know all about what Mother teaches. Like, I believe I knew you too before you came here. And I was like, what? I'm not kidding. I was like, how? And she's like, all things are possible. Everything's already happened. She's like, me holding your hand has already happened. And right as she was saying that, we got to like this little place, and it was crazy. It was like 3 trees. And she's like, this first one you can have, and I'll be in the second one right next to you. And she was like squeezing my hand. And she was like, sit in the tree. It was kind of almost like like what we would call in Missouri, like a hobbit hole for a tree. Like, it was a giant tree for one thing. And it was like a branch in a hole. It was crazy. But not. It was also just sort of a regular real tree. But it just had this like weird part where you could like sit down on it, like a little seat. You know what I mean? Like protruding from the trunk of the base of the tree was kind of like another tree. And it just formed like a little thing that like came out. It was perfect for sitting there. And she was like squeezing my hand, and she was like, you sit right here. And when I sat down, she sat like facing me, like straddling me, I guess they say. And I was just completely frozen. And she kissed me. she and I was just like, what is I my instinct when she first sat on me like that. I pushed her away and she laughed and went, I know you're scared. She was like, no one can see us. No one can see us. She was like, I do love you. I love you. And I, for real, was like a kid, like, what is she doing to my mouth? Straight up. And then it was like so powerful because I told you we were already like telepathically communicating, and just so calmly while she was kissing me, we like were telepathically communicating. She was so calm of like, I love you. Like, I'm doing this because I love you. This is how earthlings tell each other they love you. She was like, I don't care. I know we're breaking the rules, but no one else knows. No one has to know. And she was actually like in 3 seconds, like talking me right down from being scared, like, okay. And I swear, while she was kissing me with her mind, she was going, do you like this? I was like, I like it. I like it. I love you, sister. And, yeah, that was one memory. I'll just talk about 3, because she gave me many. But, I also had this memory that, me and her, I guess in the mornings, we would meet Maria in like it's kind of like a dance studio. I want to say like a kitchen, but we don't cook, but there might be like water there. And there's definitely a place to sit, but it kind of looks like a kitchen, but with like a couch and a table and chairs. And then the big part is a dance floor, like a wood floor dance floor with mirrors and shit like that. And like in this little place, like not on the dance floor, I guess we would meet her every morning, and me and JahMe were standing by each other and like goofing and like, acting like we're going to hold hands and just looking at each other. And like, I guess we were trying to telepathically, I don't know, maybe we were, but I was the observer of this. Maybe the whole time, but, well, no, actually I was in it for a second, but this really happened. This is so funny. This was Maria's answer, a memory of how me and her are together. That first one was when. When 2 days after, the day after I met her. When the day after I met her. How are we, like naturally? How? Like this. She was showing me. This is a real memory. And I love Maria's house. Like, it just made me feel really good to see it. And me and JahMe were like, we would like, it's like dance. It's like we're standing real on a line, side by side as the dance teacher comes out. But it's in the morning. I guess it's like our morning meeting of like what we're going to do today. And Maria was like totally herself, like natural, like biggest to you, Joseph and JahMe. And I can't remember what was being said, but she said, hold on, I'm going to go out, out of the dance studio for a second. Whatever she said. We thought she was leaving the room. And she like walked kind of fast. I watched her. I didn't know. Again, I didn't know what was going on. I would forget. And as soon as she thought we were done, that she was gone, JahMe like grabbed my hand like a dance partner, like you know, like turned, like spun, spun like a ballerina, like in my arms, and started kissing me. And Maria went, JahMe, across the room, and scared the fuck out of us. And Maria was smiling and kind of laughing, but she said, "You foolish little daughter. I didn't leave the room. I did it on purpose. I wanted to see what you would do if you thought I left the room." And she was like, "You children, you cannot do this in public, ever. Ever." She was like telling us, listen to me closely, like we're not troublemakers in the community. You can't do this in public. And JahMe's like, I swear we'll never. It was, and I had, I don't know if I had really remembered that, I call it the locker room memory. It was either right then, or right before, or right after that, What's so crazy is Mindy has black hair, real long, and in this memory, it started with me, in this like furious teenage makeout, where my eyes were closed so hard, and I was kissing her so hard that my face was so close to hers, I could not see anything. I couldn't open my eyes really. But I was so feeling her hair, and it was like straight and long, and in real life I was like, I totally expected in my memory to open my eyes and see just like black hair, because Mindy's Asian, and I open my eyes and it's just like nothing but blonde, like Barbie hair almost. And my first thought was, who is this? And yeah, I was, and that's actually the other one, is that memory that I was just saying, of after Maria's. The memory of how are we that we thought she left the room and we kissed. So funny. Yeah, and then the why, I really believe this is seriously the why. She was like, and there might have been more, but I'm focused on this one right now, because this happened in a succession that I met this mystery woman I talked about, that I now know who she is, Sita, and we laid next to each other, and I could not touch her, right? This was all in succession. It was actually in this succession. The next memory was me and her, what I call making out in the locker room. And yeah, and then the last one was, and I didn't even know it was the same woman when it was being shown to me in 2017. I think this was like November 2017 into 2018. And the last one, and I kind of, knew, I had a thought that's the same person, but the last one was, she was, and this I recognized, was, I told Maria, like, man, dude, this is serious. And she's like, yeah, this is a real Vril initiation ritual on Venus. And like I said, she was dressed like a goddess, except she was basically naked, but She had like see-through, like silky things, but she was laying down in this beautiful like white stone marble sort of bed with a mat, like a mattress or whatever in the middle just for one person. And she had like all kinds of jewelry in all her blonde hair. And she was like perfectly at peace in meditation, but completely naked. Like, it was weird. It was like Maria said to me, like, Joe, just in the mushroom ritual. And this is the other memory of her. Maria said to me, like, Joe, because a lot of times I'm kind of freaking out. Like, what is this? What does this mean? Maria's like, hey, listen to me now. Just relax and just look at her. Look at her legs. Look at her knees. And it was for real. When I got to her face, I said, she reminds me of you. Like, I couldn't explain it. Like, how her face wasn't Maria's face, but undeniably, I was like, I said to Maria telepathically, I said, Mother, I've seen you meditating so many times. I said, you look like her. She looks like you when she's meditating, because she was like in a deep, I could tell, like a deep meditation it looked like. And me and 3 other girls, 1 girl beside me and 2 on the other side, we were on each side of the bed. And we were all like sitting in lotus position. But the bed was kind of this very cool looking thing, and we could actually had our knees kind of under her so that we were very close to her. And like I said, I just watched for a while, and I said to Maria, like, what exactly is going on? And she was like, because she was, first she was walking around behind us, walking around in the circle in a black and purple dress. And I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm clearing all the energy of everyone and everything in this circle. And I was like, oh my God, it's working. And she's like, here's what you're doing. And just in a click, it was like, I have described this before. I'm not trying to be, erotic, but the girls were like on each part of her, each one had one breast, and the other girl was like going down on her, and it was like the sunshine. Like Maria, she didn't have to tell me. I was like, I understand. I'm supposed to relax and just appreciate this. And as I was, like, when I looked at her face, I just, like Maria said, it's a true ecstatic moment. I've never been so happy for anyone. Like, energetically, I felt like Maria now saying to me, like, you're one with her. I can believe it. Because it wasn't your normal sexual energy. It was something so beyond, but it was coming like from her face, and telepathically, Maria's like, it's okay, I want you to say it. And like, I had a thought like separate from me while I was watching the girls do this. I was like, I guess they don't need me. They don't look like they need me. And as I was watching, I swear, unexpectedly, I didn't even know. I didn't know who this girl was or her name. And when they told me it was this girl, I could not believe it for months. I was just like, that's so crazy. Because that would have been 7 years later. But, and I don't mean to be graphic necessarily. I mean, the truth is the truth. And, like, people need to know that life is this wild, and there's no shame to it at all. I mean, it's something actually, like Maria said, something actually to be proud of. But the girl's mind met my mind, and she was like, Joe, I really love you. She's like, you know how much I love you? She was like, I would appreciate, if you put your dick in my mouth and come all in my mouth right when I come, if you can, or something like that. And it was like Maria said, it was the greatest sentence ever spoken to you, because I'm the master teacher. I was like, you are, truly. And I literally, it's so funny, but I told Maria, like 15 minutes after all this, I told Maria, I'm so glad that I could be of aid. She's like, I know you were. She's like, now you know why you were there. And, in the summer of 2024, like I said, Maria was giving me, these memories saying, this is that girl that you talked to. And I had only talked to her like twice. And, we'll continue on, but it was like that night of all these memories and tying the other ones together it was like a 4th of July fireworks. It was like in this way that I really, really wanted to understand life. So like 13 years, 14 years, 13 years previous, like I had set out a journey. Okay, whatever it takes. I want to know the truth. I want to be a real, authentic person. I'm sick of this sort of sexual tension of like, there's a basic tension in Christianity, like fantasizing anything is bad, evil. Everything's evil. Everything's evil to Christians, everything. So there's this tension as a Christian. And, this was me seeking the truth about these things on any and every level that it took. And this is Maria Orsic saying, this is what you have to recover, Joseph. What you had with your sister in my dance studio, what you had with your sister in the woods, what you had with your sister in the locker room, what you had with your sister in my bedroom, and what you had with sister in that ritual where you gave sister what she wanted. I was so happy to give sister what she wanted. So happy. She's like, Joe, this is what I mean by Vril, and that you must recover your attitude about magic sex, because it's the very center, foundation of our philosophical foundation. The actual act on Venus of going into these ritualized sex, love, magic sessions like you've seen your sister being initiated into. She said to me, believe it, there's, you get your turn in the middle. Each girl gets their turn in the middle, like a rotating. This was Sita's first time. This was her initiation. This was when I said, sister, are you ready? Because we're ready for you. Okay, what me and Maria have decided is, after 2 hours, to try to sum up this in it to a concise teaching, right? Remember, recover. Recover what? The center of your life, what you do, the reason you do it, why you live on a practical level every day. what you look forward to. Like she said, in one word, orgasm. But on Venus, since you've been alive, some of us for thousands of years, some of us for millions of years, is the same person. We have, like she said, some people like us, very much, we're more productive when we ritualize. As much as we can ritualize and sort of routine, like schedule, the better artist we become. Our time becomes much more efficient and much more powerful. And how we really, really capture the feeling of family and love is what you were seeing with those three girls, me, and Sita. Like we were initiating the love that was in the room. You know what? A lot of the thought vibration being exchanged in the room by the 5 people that were taking part was, we're putting all our energy together for you, JahMe, for you, Sita, for you to astral travel, for you to experience, like, we were like the energy for her to go inside and see, experience what this is like. And what I would imagine we did, because this is what Maria's always getting at, is doing this, like she always said, the full ritual is just for like a man and his true love. It's a healing ritual. To drink 5 grams of mushrooms the right way, good ones, and make love together. And the experience of that energy being used to travel interdimensionally, astrally, to see people, visit people, all kinds of various effects and reasons. I go, God damn, Maria, that makes sense. It makes sense also that the as above, so opposite below, as above, you hear me? So opposite below is, sex and fantasy. And it, like she said, there's nothing, like she said, it could have been, 3 men or 4 men, or it doesn't matter. It's not the actual components, it's the vibration. Like, why was I there and those 3 girls? Because we absolutely DNA cell vibration closest to each other. It causes a crazy, familiar, comfortable feeling is the truth. Like, that's, people in my own life wonder, why you've been doing this so long? Because we've fought many wars, there were many battles, but it's the best feeling, emotional feeling I have is the love of Maria, the love of my mother. And it's not restricted. I mean, their whole joke, her and Donna, and I don't mean to be crude here, but they want me to. Like, I was saying something the other day, and telepathically, Maria said, I want you to say 8 her pussy. Like 7, 8, 9. I go, I get it. Because I said something like, I don't know. And, now that I've been around Donna and Lou for a year, I mean, it's just totally a common joke. Like, Donna's like, yeah, Maria's my favorite daughter because she knows how to lick it best. Believe me. She knows exactly how to make her mother come so hard. And people like, see, that's why you're Satanist. Okay. Satan don't exist. Just like your Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker. Sorry, buddy, it's a fucking movie. You didn't get that? We're not Satanists. We're not Luciferians. You know what we are? Truthiferians. I just said that. You like that, mother? But truth be told, as Brother Matt would say. And let me just speak this to you. How do you get here? By not accepting you're the victim. By not accepting you're the victim. If your true self is as powerful as I'm saying, and you understand what I'm saying, then there's no way you're the victim. You've planned your own suffering. It's all a test. And you will not get out of here until you pass that test. I think, in my experience, that's what I have come to. You know, outside of knowing anybody, knowing anything, that's what I've come to, that I've come to this place. Motherfucker, I am not coming back here if I don't have to. Except, I guess I should end on this. At some point, oh, you know what? I really think this is when Lou was teaching me, and I didn't know it was Lou. His name was Whitehawk, because we're friends. And, yeah, this is one of the things he taught me. To get out of here, you're going to have to, all right? I'm talking about your life is repeating the rounds. How, and like me saying, motherfucker, I want out of here. I don't want to do that. And him bringing me full circle like Maria. I'll talk about how she brought me full circle also, but Lou brought me full circle. In the beginning, when I seen this, the crosses in the field, and that's your lives repeating, and my life has been repeating 999 times. I was like, I screamed so loud in the astral world. It took me out of one astral body into like a whole nother dimension. For real, just the vibration. It was the most powerful scream I ever screamed in my whole life. And like, that was in like 2011. And in 2024, the summer of 2024, when I was being shown all this, Lou, he said to me, and we had talked about this when he was teaching me too, in like 2012 or 13. He said to me, what if I said to you, you could come back here, and this was like after all I had seen about JahMe, and she's your sister, and you love her. He said to me, what if I said to you, all I ask for you is to come back here and visit me. One lifetime. He's like, I promise your life won't be repeating. And I was like, Lou, I'd do anything. He's like, but now you're going to have to think about it, because I'm telling you, Sita, you won't do anything without her. He said, what if I tell you, I've already talked to her before she even ever came here, and she'll come back if you'll come back. And I was like, I'll come back. And he was like, see, I knew what to do, didn't I? I said, you sure did. I said, but I love you too. I would do it. And he said, you would, but at the same time you wouldn't. And I was like, you're right. He's like, but I'll make sure that the little girl with the tulip, I'll make sure she's here. He likes not saying people's names. For real, he was like, what if I told you that the girl will be there? I knew exactly who he was talking about. I'm like, I'll go. I'll definitely be there. He's like, yeah, I've already talked to you know who I'm talking about, the girl with the tulip, the little girl. I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, that's who I was thinking. So I went from full screaming, I'm never coming back to this fucking nightmare, to in like a minute, contemplating for 1 solid second. Okay, how about if I tell you the girl will be here? Okay, I'll be here. It was automatic. It's just literally, as the observer, that's what was happening. It was like an automatic thing. I actually said to Lou, how's that work if I was imagining my own world? He's like, well, it's like you leave your own imagined world to the care of some other people that are there, living there, and you come to my imagined world. I was like, wow. He's like, there's no technology transfer or anything. It's just all done spiritually. So in your imagined world, you would go into a meditation for, let's say, 60, 70 years. And then he started telling me, I promise you and the girl, you won't have to live in America, or you can live in the mountains or in the tropics, or, you won't even have, he was like, I won't even require you to come down and mingle in the modern world at all if you don't want to. He's like, but I do have a specific time where I want you to come. I was like, sure, absolutely. It's crazy. All the time we spend fucking around a whole nother world, of course, parallel, whatever you want to call it, is going on. It never stops, like the song says. Life goes on and on and on and on. And we just want to, not end like we always end, but end by saying, like, may the very sound of our voice heal you. And may we impart some Vril energy. And we really wish you the best, the listener, and that your true self will hear us. And we pray to your own true self. We pray to your true self that you will guide the listener to knowing it, meeting their true self and knowing their true self. But know one thing for sure. Me and Mother love you.
In the midnight glow where the secrets lie, Maria Orsic with a glimmer in her eye. Wisdom from the ether, cosmic vibes flow. She's breaking down barriers, let the knowledge grow. Whispers in the dark, dreams take flight. She's the Vril whisperer, guiding through the night. She was the oracle, the guide through time, chasing the echoes, the celestial rhyme. Through the Vril's flow, her spirit would fly. Maria Orsic, the star's alibi. With every heartbeat, she's igniting the stars of the ancients, reaching near and far, building a future where the shadows play. In her silence, we find the paths that stay, chasing the echoes of forgotten lore. Maria shines bright, can't ignore. She was the oracle, the guide through time, chasing the echoes, the celestial rhyme. Through the Vril's flow, her spirit would fly. Maria Orsic, star's alibi. Echoing through history, her legacy thrives. In the whispers of the cosmos, Maria survives.